Hello, welcome to Theosophy in Wales. I'm Dave Marsland. I'd like to say a bit about elementals. Now, elementals is a term that's used to describe broadly two categories of either, you call them beings, or in some case phenomena. First, we have the non-human conscious entities, or what we refer to as artificial elementals. I hesitate to call them beings. And these are generally created by human thought. And there are also, the terms used to describe this, natural spirits who are actually evolving beings on the ladder of life. In both instances, these manifest on the astral plane and on the etheric levels of the physical plane. And people with astral and etheric vision claim to be able to see them. I'll start with the natural elementals. It's a slightly easier one. Natural elementals are also known as nature spirits, and these occur in many traditions, and they're known in the West as fairies, gnomes, pixies, undines, salamanders and sylphs, and they're part of the elemental kingdom. There are three elemental kingdoms which are on the evolutionary scale below the mineral kingdom, two of which don't have form, but they are elementals which have form, and they are in fact beings. Now, moving on to artificial elementals, these, I hesitate to call them beings, I prefer to call them entities. They are created by our thoughts. Our thoughts create elemental essence, which gives rise to entities which can grow in strength and can become beyond our control. Now, there's really no need to be alarmed about this, because most of our thoughts just dissipate, and our thoughts very often are not strong enough to create an elemental, certainly one that would last more than probably a few minutes. What we're talking about here is a very powerful and sustained thought, or a thought derived from extreme anger. It's almost white rage, really, extreme anger. You can also create a benevolent thought form as well, so you can send out compassion. So that again can be sustained if the thought is powerful enough. Now, Dion Fortune warns in her book Psychic Self-Defense about the dangers of anger and producing thought forms, and in the book she talks about going into a state of quite severe anger, and she produced a vicious dog. Now, having etheric and astral vision, she could actually see this in her rooms, I think she's staying in a hotel, and if she hadn't done anything about it, that elemental would have gone off on its own, gathered strength, become beyond her control and done some extreme damage, and eventually would have come back on her. And she, because she had the she actually put quite a bit of inner work, she had the ability to do it. She managed to dissolve the elemental that she'd created. Unfortunately, I don't think we're all able to do this. If you sort of have extreme anger or hatred, it can take off, and it can gather an energy of its own, go beyond your control, do some quite serious damage, and probably come back on you. So that is something to think about, but there's really no need to be alarmed. Most thought forms just dissipate. I think very few of us have extremely angry thoughts on a regular basis. Certainly, if you have anger that you can't control, then that's something you should address. But for most of us, we don't create artificial elementals, and if we on occasion do, they probably dissipate fairly quickly. But the risk is there, and it is something to be aware of.